But along with that, it's been a stellar day for Tenneco Clean Air as well, because the company got listed on the bourses today, and what a stellar debut it has been. Got listed at a 27% premium, and that was indeed visible in some of the subscription that we have seen already. The IPO was subscribed over 61 times. It is indeed one of the companies that has its niche in the market. What's the way forward going ahead? Let's understand all of that. And for this, let me welcome Mr. Arvind Chandrasekhar, who is the whole-time director and chief executive officer of Tenneco Clean Air. Hi, very good morning. And firstly, congratulations on a great listing. So now that you are listed, we can talk numbers, right? And we can talk about your growth projections. How do you see the company growing ahead, key focus area? So why not? Let's start with the profit. Because yes, of course, it's been a stellar growth from 381 crores in FY23, over 500 crores in FY25, while your revenues have seen a bit of a fluctuation. Why don't you help us understand what were the key structural drivers of this profit growth and how sustainable are these growth levels for the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Very excited to be here. It's been a stellar debut. We're very, very excited. To understand the profit story, you have to zoom out and look at our parent, right? So post Apollo acquisition in 2022, our new global CEO, Jim Boss, and the new executive leadership team went on a complete cultural change across the 180 manufacturing plants. Now I'm talking the parent, okay, at the global level. And this transformation went across these plants in a way that attacked every single element of cost. So it was, you might call it factory level transformation. So it was raw material cost, conversion cost, fixed cost, indirect material, SG&A, even negotiating with customers and things like that. So along the entire P&L, there were cost improvements made. And India, right, Tenneco India really benefited from that. So it was part of a wider strategy, what we call the P3 model, People, Performance, Pride, with an Office of Strategic Execution. So it was tenacious execution, you would call it, a very well-disciplined, high accountability kind of methodology that we employ. So this is now part of our DNA. So India, too, benefited in the last 3 years, FY23 to 25. We grew our EBITDA by 400 basis points, and not just by just cutting jobs. These are fundamental structural changes across raw material, across conversion costs, labor automation, fixed cost, and so on. So this is very exciting for us because as our tailwinds continue to grow in the future, I mean, we have some very nice tailwinds happening for our business, both on the clean air powertrain side as well as the suspension side. This kind of, let's call it underlying profit margin improvement is going to continue. So even as I'm speaking to you today, there are people in our plants that are designated continuous improvement people, and their only job is to make sure they look at a clean sheet of paper and say, okay, what is the should cost for some of these items, right? So this should cost or a clean sheet approach allows us to say, okay, what is the real gap to world-class manufacturing practices, right? So everything is benchmarked to a standard level of where we ought to be. And based on that, and then there's high velocity in trying to close the gap. Every plant gets certified. So the certification process is very arduous within Tenneco. So this is part of our culture now, and this is super exciting because it's just not Tenneco India. It's Tenneco China, it's Tenneco Europe, it's Tenneco US. But Tenneco India definitely benefits from that, those cultural values.
Right. Got that, Arvind. Hi, this is Kavita also joining in, and once again, congratulations and welcome to the show. Let's talk about ROC, that has expanded meaningfully in FY25. We have to just take that figure. Now, which specific operational or capital efficiency initiatives contributed, according to you, most to this improvement? And do you expect this level to return to hold, or as you scale back, what is the plan out here?
So a very good question. So this is one of our other differentiators. The first differentiator being we're an R&D technology company. So that is our number one differentiator. We have access to 5,000 plus patents and 7,000 plus trademarks. So that being said, capital efficiency is another strong differentiator. You know, we have a very unique product and process design methodology using standardized and modular parts. So think of it as like a Lego set, right? So when you open a Lego set, you only get certain basic bricks which keep repeating, right? So with that, you can have different configurations. So the same concept applies. We are able to reuse a lot of pre-validated standardized parts that we can put together in different configurations. So whether it's a stationary genset or a commercial vehicle or an off-highway product, these standard parts can be configured, put together, and they can also be run at very, very high capacity utilization. So, and the flexibility is so good that the same high volume manufacturing line can make multiple products, and multiple plants can make the same product. So this is like the ultimate flexibility we have. And because of this, we're also able to reuse a lot of depreciated assets. We're able to refurbish assets. Plus, we also get assets, capital assets from Tenneco Europe and other areas that we can bring to India at a fair value, of course, approved by our board of directors. And that is a huge contributor to our ROC. And that has been, by the way, over the past years. The other areas, working capital, we have a vendor financing, in place, which allows us to have longer payable days. So with the negative working capital cycle or cash conversion cycle, we're also able to improve our ROC. So all of these things being asset light, we also don't own our plants. All our plants, for the most part, are leased. So we operate in a very light asset mode, you might say.
All right, but along with that, let's talk about the growth opportunities going ahead and sector-wise as well. Because as emission norms tighten and the industry shifts towards the EV specifically, when we talk about the auto space and alternative powertrains as well, where do you see the biggest growth opportunity for the India portfolio to capture them? And if you can quickly highlight some of the other growth areas apart from the autos that you are envisaging.
Sure. So first of all, we have excellent tailwinds, right? So one is we're sitting on the India growth story, which means basically just doing nothing. We grow our business because of the India growth story. 4 to 6% market growth you're going to get anyhow. But beyond that, for clean air powertrain, your specific question, we have a lot of emissions legislation coming our way in the, let's say, 27, 28, 29, 30 period. So BS6 going to BS7, CAFE norms for CO2 are coming in, TREM 4 for tractors going to TREM 5, and even at the out years, there might be a CPCB or a CEV, construction equipment vehicle, the next version coming in. So with all these legislations coming in, and they're fairly staggered, we think that our clean air powertrain business is going to grow very significantly. There's a lot of content increase that happens every time there's legislation, right? Now, the other question that you asked on the suspension business. So, look, I'd say 95+% of the Indian market is still using conventional shock absorbers. And you know that the ride quality for most most vehicles is not very good. So in the last 5 years, Indian consumers went from cars to buying SUVs. In the next 5 years, now the premiumization of SUVs are going to happen. So now you'll find that conventional shock absorbers or suspension technologies are going to move to more semi-active and active suspension. So we have the technologies. Like I said, we have 5,000 plus patents, 7,000 trademarks. We're able to bring these patents, and with a very, very strong local applications engineering team, we're able to apply it in the customer environment, not just offering them the technology, but also making it affordable, making it lightweight, and also doing time to market, because a lot of these technologies are already validated elsewhere in the Western world. So we just have to bring these technologies and help them grow. So content per vehicle through legislation, through premiumization, that's a big growth vector. The second growth vector is exports. Exports are going to grow significantly because of the technology equalization, and OEMs also. By the way, many Western OEMs also pushing for more business to come to India. So all those growth vectors are going to help us.
All right. So a lot of growth engines listed out there. Thank you so much, and all the best. And let's connect back later in the next quarter and talk more on this. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks.